What's up, ambitious listeners? I hope y'all have had a good day. If you're just now getting your day started, I hope you have a good rest of the day. And if you listen to this before you put your head to the pillow, for those of you who still use those things, I hope you have a good rest of the evening after listening to this episode. For those of you who are not familiar, this is the Ambitious Views sorry, where we have a great time sharing our point of views on unique stories within film, television, and anime, and even sometimes gaming. Okay, I feel like it's almost that time to start including gaming. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. And as we get ready to go on in it, just want to remind y'all who these good people are that you're listening to right now. My name is Corgan. I'm your host, and my co-host, Blaze. What's up, Blaze?
What's up?
Doing all right? You doing good?
I'm good. I'm ready to get into it.
You sure?
I'm positive. I
Positive?
tell
Okay.
you, I stay ready.
You stay ready? All right, we're gonna see. I definitely want to just tell everyone we've made it to our fifth episode. We're enjoying
Woo!
it so far. Woot woot. And I just want to thank everybody that has been sharing it, who's taking out the time to watch it, who hit the notification whatevers to make sure that you're keeping up with new episodes that we post. Please make sure that you remember to follow our Facebook page, which is Ambitious Views Podcast, and also our Instagram page, which is Ambitious Views Studio. Okay. That's how you be able to keep up with different advertisements about different things. And we're going to try to continue to build up our engagement and just have some fun all the way around outside of just on the podcast episodes. All right. So I just want to thank you all for supporting us. We've been enjoying it, and we're just going to continue to bring these great conversations to y'all. And always remember to please let us know what y'all want us to talk about. We can try to make sure that we incorporate it. So we just have a good time. All right.
And let
Um,
us know what you think too of like the different stuff we talk about. Like we want to hear what y'all think.
Exactly. We see y'all be listening, you know what I'm saying? But we need to know what y'all think. Let us know. Let us know if you disagree. That's fine. It ain't gonna hurt
Mm-hmm.
my feelings. You know what I'm saying?
It'll hurt your feelings.
It may hurt my feelings a little bit, but that's besides the point. All right, no. Oh, but alrighty. As you all know, well, for those of you who are returning, you already know we pop the episodes off with a this or that. And for this episode, Blaze is taking over, so I'm gonna hand it on over to Blaze. What you got?
All right. Well, you can get with this or you can get with that. You ready?
A little bit.
A little bit, a little bit. So you talked about how you've recently been rewatching the Rockies series.
Yes,
And I know you just watched Creed 3.
you go. Here you
So
go.
I know it's a lot of Rocky movies, but we're gonna take the first three Rocky
Mm.
versus the three Creeds.
Oh,
Which one?
why you want to do this, Blaze? Because it really, I mean, it's no competition at all. No shade for me. No shade.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go with the 1 through 3 for the Rockies. Got to. The
Wow.
original. Yes. Like no
Yeah.
questions asked. No shade at all. Creed, all the Creeds, all the way across the board. Really solid films, everything like that. I'm interested. Well, I'm not gonna go too deep into it because we're gonna talk about that later on. Spoiler alert. Okay. But yeah, I gotta go with the original, man. It's just the continuation from 1 to 2, the surprise so-called villain, the losses that's in 3, like it hits home, and I feel like they're able to really make it very grounded in the Rocky series as opposed to Creed. But it's hard to really compare. But when it comes to my visual experience and what I enjoy the most, Rocky, the first 3 Rockies versus the first 3 Creeds, got to go with the first 3 Rockies.
Okay.
Got to.
All right, I guess you were ready today.
Yeah, yeah. Had to. And which that also leads into what I said in the previous episode on that. The Rocky franchise, to me, is the best movie franchise. Solid. Because I would put Harry Potter up there, like I said, but if you're tackling on the Fantastic Beasts, yeah,
What's wrong with I love Fantastic Beasts.
all three of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation for a different day on that one, Blaze.
it's giving hater energy, but okay.
Mm, mm. Okay, we gonna see. We gonna see. Anyway, but that was really dope. That was really dope. I mean, both three are really great. But you know, overall, I gotta go with the original. Is just too dang good. Too dang good. But moving on to the watch list. Blaze, what's on your watch list? What you
All
got?
right. I just finished You season 4, part 2 last night actually.
Hmm,
Um, in addition to like movies and television, I'm a big reader. And
hmm,
so one of my favorite books, I want to say I read it in 2020, was Daisy Jones and the Six. And Amazon Prime has finally started dropping the episodes for the show based off the movie. I mean, off the book. And it's been pretty good so far. I mean, they've made some changes from the book,
hmm,
but it definitely has brought a very interesting and unique way that that book was written to life, essentially. So I'm excited about that.
hmm.
And then I'm also watching Bel Air. That season 2 is going on, and it's been good so far. I think this week will be the third episode.
Okay.
Um, last Friday. So I went to see Creed Saturday, and I saw Scream 6 on Friday because I had to see my new Scream movie, and it was amazing.
Okay.
Like so good that I was like, man, if I didn't have two papers to write, I'll go see the movie again. Like it
Wow.
was that good. I had to reorder my Scream rankings because of that movie. And I didn't
Wow.
have the same rankings for years. Right. The movie was so good.
Dang.
But that's about it.
Wow. Okay. That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, I'm a little late on Bel Air just because I don't have Peacock. And so I need to take out time sooner or later to finally get that to watch Bel Air. Because if I'm not mistaken, pretty much it almost seemed like Bel Air brought in a lot of subscribers for the platform when it first came out. And I've heard really great things about it. I just need to check it out. Um, Especially since I passively have been keeping up with, I believe her name is Coco Jones, um, through one of the YouTube channels that Aja and I watch and stuff like that. So, and on top of that, um, keeping up with the career of Morgan, who produced the teaser for the teaser that pretty much led to the opportunity to produce this new series of Bel Air. So that's pretty dope. My watch list, I know it's kind of old and I know we talked about it on a previous episode, but of course, finish Perfect Match. Did you finish Perfect Match, Blaze?
Yeah, I finished it.
Yeah, that was it got pretty wild.
It did get wild. And the stuff post the show was like wilder. So
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty damn wild. Like once again, especially because it seems like it's gonna be like a slight little gap right before the newer reality series that's kind of related to Perfect Match, which is I believe season 4 of Love Is Blind. And
mm-hmm.
so I'm actually looking forward to that because that's besides The Circle, that's one of my favorite reality shows. The Circle and um what's that, Selling Sunset. As far as reality shows, those have been, kind of up there for me. But yeah, Perfect Match, it was a pretty wild ending. We started season 5, I believe. It's season 5 of The Circle. And so we watched the first three episodes yesterday, and it was really good. I honestly would say that I feel like it was the most entertaining out of all. I mean, I don't want to say most entertaining out of all of them, but definitely kicking it off, it was pretty dang entertaining and keeping my attention a little bit better than I feel like the previous ones. I may be wrong, but that's just kind of how I feel about it. Um, Another series I recently started, I only watched one episode, but it really had me hooked in, is Voices Rising, the music Wakanda Forever. It's pretty much it's on Disney Plus, and pretty much it is following the journey of the production of Ryan Coogler and his partner. I want to make sure that I say his name in it.
Honestly, I didn't even know what that show was about, so that's why I haven't checked it out.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. His partner, Ryan Coogler's partner, as far as the one who was over the scoring of the film, Ludwig. Um, I believe they were grad school college friends, I think at USC, and they've pretty much been working with each other ever since. And basically, it just follows the journey of them going to different countries to basically develop a really dope score for the film. And so the first episode actually it follows Ludwig and Ryan Coogler and the rest of their team to Nigeria and them meeting with different artists, whether it's with specific Nigerian instruments from different tribes, there to music artists and stuff like that, and just seeing how they
Mhm.
go from how the song was at one point to where they help bring it up and add in. And I really love the fact that like Ludwig kind of narrates it to a certain degree and he's in it, but at the same time, they give enough space and credit to where where at the end of the day where the true art is coming from, and he's just kind of being the orchestrator of just blending and putting everything together. And it's really cool that we get to see a decent amount of Ryan Coogler in that space as well, and how they're just bouncing ideas off each other to make sure they're supporting the artists and their voices be
Mhm.
heard, on top of just making sure that they're supporting the idea of where they want this to go um, visually, and also with music throughout the film. So it's really dope. I've only seen the first episode. The second one is it's actually three of them that's out now. The second one, it looks like they're going to Mexico, and then the third one they'll be in London. Um, so they did some traveling with this. So it's a docu series, not long episodes at all. The first episode is 30 minutes. Um,
Okay.
yeah, the second one 32 minutes, and it seems like the second one's 32 minutes, and the third one is only 21 minutes. So it's pretty much straight to the point, good content. So,
Okay.
but I highly recommend that, especially for those of you who may be in music. I watched Strays. I saw Straw Hat Goofy had posted on his TikTok about his experience watching it without any spoilers, and I know that we had came across it either on social media or on the actual Netflix platform, and that movie is pretty trippy. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's pretty trippy. I mean, to give this the overall, I guess the best way to share it is basically about this woman who lived in this one area, I believe in the UK. And so she was there for a little bit, and then she moved, and then she went on to have her family and all this stuff like that. But then you realize that there are things as the movie go along that's being revealed by her that she's been suppressing over time, and those things pretty much come up and just literally explode like, whoa, okay. So, but yeah, it was pretty dang cool to see. And I will say, if you like twists and unique endings and stuff like that, this is definitely that movie. And last, I got to check out Creed 3, and overall, I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it, and we're going to be talking about that in the real take portion of the episode. So I'm not going to get too deep into it, but overall, I truly did enjoy Creed 3, and yeah.
Yeah. I will say when I went to the movies to see Creed and Scream, I
Mhm.
saw that they were doing Demon Slayer,
Mhm.
but Sarisa had already went to go see it in Texas, and she was like, really, it was the last movie or the last season, like the last part of it, and then the first episode of the new part. So she was
Yeah.
like, it wasn't really worth it, you know.
I heard the same thing. I heard the same thing. Some of my students told me, they was like, yeah, like overall, I'm not saying that it wasn't good, but um basically it's like, yeah, I would have rather just waited until the new season came out in April instead of spending out that money to see something, which I already knew that they were gonna I think everybody realized that they was gonna show the previous, last parts of the last arc, but I think it was the way they was presented. Because what I heard, and I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but from what I heard, it was almost like the experience of literally like they cut both like episodes together from the last arc, like here, like maybe one or two episodes back to back, and then the first episode of the new season. So it wasn't even like, how sometimes, because they did this with Boruto, and I know sometimes I think they've done this with Pokemon as well. But basically, how sometimes they will make a movie that you can watch, or you can go back and watch it in series form.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that a lot of people thought it was going to be like a movie version of what everybody has seen. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
almost like you've seen it, but it's almost like a fresher experience to a certain degree. But I think they literally said that no, it was pretty much episode whatever, like credit
Mm-hmm.
wise. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's okay. I mean, we got plenty of content that stretches over until the new season comes out or whatever, which I'm still excited about, and stuff like that. But dope. Well, on to the real take, and to pop it off, I saw Blaze that someone shared. It was a platform that well, it was a post that I saw on social media that shared that um it's expected for the Michael Jackson biopic to spend around $120 million.
Wow, they should definitely give me at least 1 million. Do they really need to spend 120 million? I
Yeah,
think 119 will work.
definitely. They'll be
Maybe
okay.
even 18, because you can get some too, you know?
Hey, put me in the film. How about that? Let me be one of their cousins that come over to play down the road.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Um, but yeah, I saw that, and it kind of goes back to when I first mentioned that I felt that, man, watch. I really do feel that, especially with Jafar, this is probably going to be his debut as an actor and stuff like that, or whatever. He may or may not. He may get a decent amount what he's worth, but he's not going to be like getting paid like on the level like Will Smith or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I feel like that's gonna allow them to put a lot of money into it. So $120 million, like that's that's action movie. That's, man, what I'm trying to think of. That is Marvel level of a
Yeah.
budget. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
wonder if it's that much too to pay for like use of the catalog. Because even though the family is behind it, you still have to pay for that, right?
mhm. Yeah, so it depends on what era they're going in. And since we haven't heard about
Yeah.
like a young Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see where they start. I feel like they know if they want to get money, they need to start off in the 80s or
Yeah.
no earlier than Off the Wall, and then lead on into Thriller.
I
Um,
mean, really, I don't feel like it's necessary for them to start when he's really young. Like we've
mhm,
seen enough.
right. No, I agree. I agree. And so with that being the case, the 80s is going to be expensive, but it depends on he what he owned by the time he passed away, because the fact that it's the
Yeah.
family and the estate, if the estate is managing what he owns and say he owns a good chunk or the majority of most of his content, then
Hmm.
they're good to go. Of course they're gonna have to probably pay off those who still, have certain, rights to certain things. Uh,
Hmm.
but I can see like $120 million though, because I've seen films that have really great music and all this stuff like that. I feel like they're gonna build. I think they're gonna end up building a space that's similar to the Joker movie that came out not too long ago.
Hmm.
Um, and what I mean by that is that like when I watched the Joker, I feel like I was in the world, in his world. Like I like full, like beautiful cinematography. I think the cinematographer actually won an Oscar that year for that. But beautiful cinematography, full frame, big world, a lot of things going on, just beautiful picture. I think that is what they're gonna be going for. Because I will say I feel like outside of the music, it could be you probably can get by honestly with probably $50 to $7 million.
Yeah.
When you pay, because biopics usually don't cost that much. So I think they're going big.
That's
I'm
good.
interested to see. I'm gonna have to look up and see how much, like, say, like Straight Outta Compton and like what's like another like biopic that you feel like was pretty.
Um, the what's that one? The one that was on about Queen was a big one, a big deal.
Yeah, that one and Rocky Man. So I'm gonna look those
Hmm.
up and see how much they cost. But other than that, $120 million for a biopic seems like this is gonna be a good juicy one. Next up, Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors. I mean, he's just getting these major checks out here. You know what I'm
He
saying?
is. He is. I
He's,
mean, HBO show got canceled, and he said that's not gonna stop me.
and it should,
Her
man.
wasn't going up.
Hey, price went up, and he should. I mean, you
Right?
know, hey, Lovecraft Country was that thing. I literally was telling somebody about that the other day, and I could not believe that she didn't know anything about it. And I'm like, come on now, come on. This is literally, I feel like one of the best uh black led I guess like limited series like I've ever seen. So
Hmm.
but anyway, if y'all haven't heard, Jonathan Majors will officially be playing Dennis Rodman in the film 48 Hours in Vegas, which is
Oh my gosh,
very
this is gonna be amazing.
oh, he's gonna go in.
Dennis Rodman is hilarious.
Oh yeah.
And like the story of the Vegas trip is so ridiculous and wild. I'm so
Yeah.
ready for this movie.
Yes. So if y'all haven't heard, man, please make sure, like, if y'all definitely, if you're into sports or you just want to hear about great stories about well-known individuals, please go and check out the Last Dance docu-series. I'm pretty sure it's still on Netflix. If not,
Oh, so
I'm
good.
pretty sure you can check it on. It's still
Hmm.
on there? You said it's still
It's
on there?
still on there, unless they
Okay.
took it off this month, but it's still on there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Like it's on there for a
but
reason, y'all.
yeah, that's a really great documentary.
Really great. Really great. Well, they tell the story of each of the big three, which is Michael Jordan, of course, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis. And basically, there's a
Hmm.
story in it that they tell where was it during the playoffs or something like that, and he was pretty much,
I think it was
missing in
actually during
action.
the finals.
Okay, yeah. Missing in action. Don't nobody know where this man that supposedly, and then they end up finding out that Dennis had went off to Vegas and was just there. And pretty much like it was like Michael Jordan and a couple other guys busting into the door, like, hey man, you need to come on and all this type of thing or wherever like that. So I'm very interested to see. I'm really interested to see, is it gonna be a passive biopic or is it gonna be like a passive like 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 a fast-paced moment in time kind of thing. I'm very interested
Mhm.
to see where they're gonna go with that. Um, but yeah, what like Blaze, what you think since you know about the story? How you feeling about it?
Oh, I'm excited. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm interested to see who is going to write it
Mm,
because they have to write it in a way where it's going to be funny, but
yeah,
also
yeah,
like I don't know how to explain it. Like it has to be funny, but it also has to have like a little bit kind of like a dramedy.
yeah, yeah. I can see that definitely. I can definitely see that because I mean, even with Dennis Rodman's like journey to where he even got to the Bulls is very interesting to even follow. So that's why I'm
Mhm.
interested to see like what is going to be the I guess the car that carries us to this moment, or is this going to be the climax and then it eases off to how things end up turning out later on. I'm very interested to see.
I can see them doing like a series almost because they got the new movie coming out about Michael Jordan becoming the face of
Of
Nike and
like,
stuff.
yeah.
Like I could see them doing this 48 hours for Dennis Rodman and then doing something else that's kind of basketball related. I think that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. I mean, kudos to them.
I can see it having the same vibe as Winning Time. Is that what it was called on HBO?
Mm, even though that structure really threw me off, like the breaking the fourth wall, looking at the
I
camera,
love that.
and I wasn't expecting. I was thinking it was gonna be serious because even when it starts off, it's just like, oh snap, and then it goes back in time or whatever. But I would definitely love that experience for the movie.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't need it definitely would be dope as a dramedy. I wouldn't want to be too serious unless it's a certain thing that we didn't realize that was going on or whatever. I don't know, but
Hmm.
um I guess
Do
if
you
anything,
know?
definitely go ahead.
I was say, do you know if he's involved in it?
I don't know. I almost want to say I doubt it. I mean, I don't know the man like that, but he definitely gives me the vibes whenever I see him. Docs, he's like, yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I know he's smart about, things that he probably gets involved in and stuff like that or whatever, but you know, he definitely kind of gives me the vibe like, whatever, because that's the other thing too. Like he's older, if I'm not mistaken, he's older than Mike and Pippen.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like that other thing too, is just like how much does he really even care about, certain things. But I do hope he's a part of it, to a
Hmm.
certain degree, or he feels good about, them telling it. But at the same time, for those of you who know the full concept of the story, it may be pretty trippy for him to be a part of it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We
I mean, one thing good about him though is like whether he's a part of it or not, he's gonna do press when the movie comes out, and
mm,
he's gonna be like, well, what really happened was like,
oh man, I can see him doing that for real.
what they didn't put in the movie was I can see
Right.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, man, they got a good one for it. I know like sometimes, Hollywood will do that where it's like when that one person is hot, it's just like people constantly kind of like, Jonathan is kind of giving me the vibes of like how Kevin Hart was at a certain moment of his career before he started slowing down, even though I know he
Hmm.
was building. And so, but I will say with Jonathan Majors, like I really couldn't see anybody else playing business.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
so yeah, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Um, Blaze, did you see the Little Mermaid official full trailer?
I did. It was so great.
It was. As you all know, Halle is taking on major pressure when it comes to fulfilling this role as Ariel, the Little Mermaid. So I'm super excited for her. And I will say that, the trailer, as I once said, it really made me feel better about it because, when it comes to these live action things going from traditional animated films to going into live action, there are always different expectations of what's going on. And Disney has been doing this unique thing for a while where every live action film is not always in like the same formula in a sense. So how Beauty and the Beast live action, which I feel like has been the best, that was a musical, just like the movie, the original movie. But then Jungle Book was not a musical. They had like maybe one or two moments that was passive singing, but there wasn't like this overall like musical experience and Disney vibe, you know what I'm saying? Similar to the Lion King as well. So I'm definitely interested to see about the route that they're gonna go. I feel like you really just can't do this without making it a traditional film and just add some live action flair to it. Because as we can see, as we can see and hear that she's singing the butt off in this film. So
Mhm.
so yeah, so but overall, I know you say you liked the Blaze, but what what else was coming to mind, especially after watching the previous teasers that we've seen not too long ago.
Well, I was just happy to have a full trailer instead of just the
Mhm.
teaser, but also I'm excited to see how they are taking, because I mean it's a movie about a mermaid.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how they are taking her being in the water. Like, what is that gonna look like? I was excited to see more of that in the trailer.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Definitely the interactions with the water, how is that used, everything like that. Like, I can definitely see that. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Well, we're gonna see. I'm definitely in for it. I don't know if we're gonna go straight to the theaters to see it or not. But I'm hoping that it goes well and we'll see what happens. I'm definitely interested to see it. So, but well, Blaze, it's about that time that we get to what everybody has hopefully been waiting on, and that's our POV on Creed 3, which is the third film of the overall Rocky franchise, but more specifically, um, the third installment of the, I guess, mini franchise within the world of the Rocky films. So, overall, Blaze, what did you think about your experience of seeing Creed 3?
I was like the whole time I was watching the movie, I was just like, I'm so proud of Michael B. Jordan
Mm-hmm.
for that to be his directorial debut. I was like, wow, he's killing it.
Mm-hmm.
The movie itself looked amazing. I loved. I recently found out that he was using anime, but I just thought it was like when they did the fight scenes that he was trying to do it from the perspective of like the fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But after hearing about his influence with anime, I was like, you know what, that also makes a lot of sense. It's definitely giving anime vibes.
Yeah.
Um, but I really liked that he was at the center. He was able to share how how do I explain it? Like I like the story that was told,
Mm-hmm.
like beyond just the boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like being able to express your emotions, your traumas, and getting over that. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was like a really good subplot of the movie
Mm-hmm.
that needs to just be talked about, like in our community. Period. I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
really good that they put in there. But overall, and like him being a dad, that was good, and the incorporation of their daughter. Because usually in movies, like when they have kids, like the kids are kind of an afterthought. But she
Yeah.
was like all throughout the movie.
Oh
I
yeah.
really enjoyed that.
Yeah, she was definitely one of my favorite characters, to be honest. Like I really did love how they incorporated her, especially with her them being intentional about continuing, the thought of like, hey, not only is his wife, who's played by Tessa Thompson, is becoming is losing her hearing, where their child doesn't have any hearing at all, like she's deaf. And so I really love how they incorporate that, especially more so in the Black community. I feel like, especially visually, I
Mm-hmm.
know that's starting to be a thing, which is great, but definitely when you see just us outside of the normal language, um, moments that you usually see us, or dialogue languages that you usually see us in, to see that with American Sign Language, or just sign language in general, was really dope. So I do agree with that, Blaze. She was definitely one of my favorite characters, definitely top two. And but I agree. I think the main thing I enjoyed the most was the fighting scenes, because I feel like from transitioning from Rocky to Creed, but specifically Creed 3, this being intentional about showing different parts and close-ups of hits, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
really was just really dope for me. The sweat coming off of the back and all this stuff like that. I just felt like that was just really dope to incorporate.
I'm
What?
sorry, I just had a light bulb moment as you were talking about the fights because, like, I see the anime influence, but
Mhm.
what just hit me right now was like the one part where he was looking at the dude's side and
Yeah.
stuff, and I was like, Demon Slayer. That is such a Demon Slayer thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you sent that to me, I was like, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. And it's kind of like no wonder that stood out to me. 'Cause I was like, man, that's just so different from what we've seen, the same old like
Mm-hmm.
boxing, which is always usually great, and I know sometimes they actually take real hits here and there. But, to really show it in that aspect and visually bringing that to the screen was, pretty dang dope. So I thought that was really cool to incorporate. Um, I gotta ask this, Blaze.
Mm-hmm.
Were you team Adonis or team Damon?
I'm happy you asked that question because I liked the parallels of them because like I like that they started off with their past
Mhm.
because essentially Adonis stole that man's life. He stole his life. He became the champ and everything while he was locked up. But um to say all of that, I was team Adonis because I think about survivor's remorse. And that's really what he was struggling with. Like he felt bad internally because he made it out. He didn't go to jail and he got to live this dream that him and his friend, somebody that he felt like was his brother, also wanted.
Yeah,
And so he wanted to, because he had that guilt, he wanted to help him out. But you can't, I'm not saying you can't help everybody out, but you got to inspect the situation first. And somebody that's been in jail for 18 years, they are more street smart right now than,
yeah,
common sense smart. So they on their hustle stuff.
yeah,
And he shouldn't have, like, you gonna put the champion against somebody that just got out of jail or for a title match. It's different if it's a match about just money. It was a
yeah,
title match. What?
yeah.
No. But I was on
Well,
another
Blaze,
side because
he didn't have too
I
much time.
understand Dame's,
He
huh?
didn't have too much time. You know what I'm saying?
Like dude said, he older than you. Dude was like, but I stayed in shape and everything, but you older than me, my God. I mean, I understand Dame's anger and also not giving up on his dream, but I feel like he should. If he, I would have probably been on his side had he went about it a different way. Like if he didn't try to force the situation and
Yeah.
he just worked hard and got that opportunity, whether he wins or lose, I would have been like, cool.
Okay.
But he made himself a villain for a second.
Yeah. You know what, Blaze? I was team Damon.
What?
Yeah, I was team Damien. Sure
Wow.
was. Just because,
Was.
well, I mean, of course, I was mostly him all the way up until really maybe right before the fight. I don't know what it was, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I gotta let it go. But I think the thing that, the reason why I was team Damien is because although, mentally he wasn't really thinking about and appreciating the journey that fighters have to go, or boxers have to go through, to get to the point of qualifying to be a champion. Um, I will say that, you know, Adonis, which I do appreciate that this is intentional, he still has some maturing to do when it comes to handling those situations. Like he just kind of, it was barely ever a moment I feel like where he was like, I'm really sorry for what happened, my bad, this, that, and the third. But it's just like you literally, which I get, like certain things are kind of hard to share. He, like Adonis really just rarely ever officially addressed the fact like, hey, my bad for what I did, should have been, I feel bad for what happened and stuff like that, bro. I'm here to help you out as much as possible. I know, you've had your moments in life and stuff like that. I made it out, but, any way that I can help you to, pursue whatever you're trying to pursue or whatever, let me know and leave it at that. But it's like dang near everybody had to pull the situation out of him and end up. And I think it's one of those things that was annoying. Is like it's like it wasn't even a big deal to a certain degree, but it's almost the fact that for him to constantly almost not address it in a sense. I feel like that's what almost made Damian even more upset and spiteful to me. I feel like to a certain degree because it's just like, bro, all you did is run. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all you had to say is just like, I never did get any letters, you know what I'm saying? Or this, that, and the third. And it's like, but it's just like, here a little bit of money, this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying? I was like,
Right, but that's where the survivor guilt come in. Is like he feels bad that he was successful
yeah,
and his friend wasn't. But instead of apologizing for just running or for being like, I didn't get the letters, he's so focused on like, dang, he should have had my life. We should have had this life together, you know?
yeah, yeah. No, you totally right. You totally right. And I'm glad you brought up that point because it's really dope. And like you said, unfortunately, um that's a realistic experience that we have to deal with at times on different levels, whether it's like academically to sports to all those different type of things. And sometimes you have to be careful because you just really never know how people are gonna feel about you. And so that survival remorse that you're saying, or that survival guilt, um really gets to you and stuff like that. But overall, I really, like you say, I really love the dynamic that they build between them two. I was telling somebody the other day that I honestly wouldn't have been against them extending certain moments or including certain things to like 10 to 20 extra minutes. To be honest, I love the time of it. But I do feel like at times, especially for some reason getting closer to the end, that it became more rushed in a sense. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
they did a really good job of building up and really building up the tension and everything like that. But it's like things kind of moved on a little bit faster than I realized. But it may just be me in that moment because, I don't have to have 2 hours to get a point across. And it's another reason why I like some of the Rocky movies because they're not
Right.
all full 2 hours. But but yeah, it was definitely dope. Um, one thing I will say.
Hours and 43 minutes, I think.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So it wasn't bad at all. One thing going back to Michael B. Jordan's directing debut, and more specifically his choice, I really realized that with him, I don't know if this was intentional or just because like, it was his first rodeo or whatever. I found it very unique how almost majority of the shots in the film were mid to close up shots.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't many like wide shots or medium wide shots and stuff like that. And I know there was some, emotional moments in there that I feel like, is really good to get the close-ups and everything. But I really wonder, was that intentional? Or is that just something he naturally just decided to do to really grasp what he felt like was the best way to get, his vision across or whatever. But I found it very unique how a good chunk of the film, were medium close to close up shots, and stuff like that. So hopefully one day if I run into him, I gotta ask, like, was that intentional or, like where you come up with that and stuff like that? Cause I guess to a certain degree, if you think about it, even going back to anime, I want to say that a lot of anime is very close up shots as well, medium close
Yeah.
ups, because it's heavy on the dialogue. So I almost wanted that he pulled from anime as well. So, but overall, I truly enjoyed it. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Spoiler alert. Well, I guess it's not really much of a spoiler, but I'm very interested to see were they teasing the potential of his daughter going into boxing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what that's going to look like. But
And
I
how
will
soon?
say, yeah, yeah. But I will say, I could see them going at it again.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
wouldn't be,
really? Game and Adonis?
yeah, I could see them going at it again, maybe, maybe. Um, but at the same time, it seemed like it won a very spiteful ending, so maybe not, you know. Um, but yeah, it seemed like a very solid ending to Creed 3. If they ended here, I feel like they're really in on a very good note. But
And the
outside,
end of that, that's another thing. I really liked that the ending was them being cool, you know?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think that was very important. Yeah, that's a really good point, Blaze. Yeah, I really like that, and I feel like that's very important to do. No matter like things that we go through and stuff like that in relationships and stuff, especially if it started off as a true friendship. Be willing to work through that and just understand that there was a sense of both of you being imperfect with whatever situation that it was, and just moving through it. But yeah, that is a good point, Blaze.
Yeah. Because
Um,
I always hate in like movies and shows where I don't want to say the bad guy because I don't think Dame is considered really a bad guy, but like where one person wants something and then they get it, and then like the hero comes and takes it back or knocks them down, and it just becomes like this cycle of like, now I'm mad at you for taking this away from me, and it's like, but you got what you wanted.
yeah,
You didn't get to keep it.
right.
But if your mission was to become the champion, you did that. So you don't have a reason to be bad. And so I was happy that he was like, we good, dude. We good.
Yeah, yeah. And just the
I
emotional,
wonder what his future is going to be.
yeah. I mean, that's a good point, because just the emotional piece of just like two black men being vulnerable with each other and be like, hey man, let's try to move through this. And I feel like that was a beautiful thing. So you're right. You're definitely
Mm-hmm.
right on that. Definitely. Um, like I said, it was very sharp. It was a very sharp film. I'm interested to see if they're gonna do anything with it. If they don't, I feel like it's a good ending to the Creed era. Unless they want to fast forward, or unless it's like something very unique they want to bring out. I know Sylvester Stallone has spoken that, hey, if they would like to do a Creed 4, that, long as everything looked good to him, that he would be open to coming back. Um, but he even said that then watching it, the way they did it and the way the story goes, it really wasn't no point of having him a part of it at all.
Yeah.
He literally would have been just a face to just remember, like, hey, this is
Mm-hmm.
this is coming.
Nostalgia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nostalgia. So if they want to bring it back, I can see them doing it in a way to where they finally try to end both of them at the same time. But other than that, I just feel that, the way they did it, I feel like they're good to go, and I wish them the best, with it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but cool, Blaze. You got any other thoughts on Creed 3?
Um, Probably my favorite Michael B. Jordan acting that he's ever done.
Hmm. Mine would be Fruitville Station.
Oh, I forgot about Fruitville Station. You're right. I'm gonna just say I'm gonna tie them. They're a tie for
Okay.
me. How about
Okay.
that?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely did good. It was kind of that was the other thing for me for this film, is really accepting the fact that he's considered an older athlete in this boxing world thing, and him being a mentor thing. But I do get that, kind of like other sports, you can retire kind of early. So, and they kind of passively shown that, he's already been dealing with some possibly permanent, damage, to his body and stuff like that. So
And that's another thing. That's probably the only thing I wish that they would have spent a little time on, like him talking about why he retired and stuff, because he's old, but he's not old. And
right.
so I wish they would have talked about that aspect of like for a boxer, this is usually the time where they retire because of so many concussions, because of so
Right.
many broken this and a ruptured that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Like kind of like almost like a teachable or reflective kind of moment or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I definitely get.
Especially after that first fight.
Mm, yeah,
That
true.
first fight was like brutal. Well, I guess second fight, the fight between Dame and was it Miguel?
Yeah, yep.
That fight was brutal.
Hey, he was smart. Like the fact when he started hitting his shoulder, I said, this dude is a freaking genius and sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he going after the same arm that he passively injured in a sparring situation, and he
Mm-hmm.
comes back and intentionally, because I was like, why is he like trying to hit like that? I said, this man remembers that he hurt him not too long ago.
Yeah.
So
And he probably did it on purpose, you
oh,
know.
he definitely did it on purpose. Either he intentionally did it on purpose that day because he's like, some type of way I'm gonna fight him and I'm gonna remember where I hurt him at, or he was just smart enough to remember, oh, he wasn't feeling good in that arm not too long ago. So I'm gonna try to make sure that I come after him. Because what I did like is that they didn't water down the fact that, yeah, he's smart and he was sneaky and dirty about how he got to that moment, more so with
Mm-hmm.
Adonis. Um, he still studied his like study his his opponent. So that one point when he's in his living room and he's boxing, it seems like he's watching some of Adonis's fights. That shows that he's a student of the craft. He's not just this brawler and just a guy from the street that's just doing whatever. He's still an amateur, but at the same time, he took it seriously. So, and that just shows how hungry he was to where not only I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to get what I want, I'm also going to make sure that I'm not a joke, when I get into the ring. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, just super solid film. If you haven't checked it out, I don't feel like we spoiled it really much at all to a certain
Not really.
degree. Definitely go ahead and check it out if you was a little bit apprehensive. It's a solid film, a good potential ending to the series, but who knows? We'll see. So,
Also, the guy's name was not Miguel. I don't know where I got Miguel from. It was Felix. But also
Felix.
the guy that played Felix is a professional boxer.
Wow. I mean, he's built like one, so it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
One and another thing, and another thing, I like that they brought Drago back.
That was weird for me.
Really?
Speaking as a Rocky fan, that's weird for me. That I think that was one of the things I'm like,
I like that. I like that they had this moment in the first movie or in the
yeah,
second movie in which they had beef, but it really wasn't beef that
it wasn't
they
their
had.
beef. They was using their father's beef.
Exactly. And so they had that, they fought each other and they bonded from that essentially. So
Hmm.
I like that they brought him back and that he helped train um Creed for his
Yeah,
fight with Dame.
yeah. I think what would have made it a little bit easier for me to like ease into that because when I anything Drago, I'm thinking about Rocky Four, and that was not a pretty
Mm-hmm.
movie at all. And so I think would have made it easier for me to transition into that because I definitely got where they were going with that is them address it. But the first thing that we hear about, he's supposed to be fighting Felix, and then he's shaking it up with him, and then the next moment is just like cool, but it's just like, but where was the conversation between y'all? Can we even see y'all even hang out? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Right.
Showing that y'all past that and just say something passive
But
about
keep in
whatever.
mind too, has been a time jump.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah.
yeah.
But I get what you mean. They should have at least shot a scene of them hanging out being cool, you know. I agree.
Yeah, like
I'll
even
give
if
you
it's
that.
some goofy, like he came over to the house and you know the daughter is like Uncle Drago or something like that. I know that would have been far fetched, but just to not make it pop out of nowhere for me, you know what I'm saying? Or even if it was one of those things, which I think they kind of did that for the most part. It's like a passive respect. Like we ain't cool like that. Like we ain't like bros, but like I respect you, you respect me, kind of thing, you know. So and to a certain degree, they kind of did that for me, but that was something that I had to get adjusted to because I'm like, that's Drago, man. That's
This is
Drago's
fun.
son. That's his son, man.
You
You know.
can't put the sins of the father on the son.
So yeah, but dope. Well, cool. Well, overall, as y'all can see, we really enjoyed Creed. Definitely let us know what y'all think about the rest of the projects that we are currently watching, finished up, all the stuff like that. And honestly, till next time, I hope y'all have a good morning, noon, or evening. Peace, y'all.
Peace.